Okay, so listen, I've been holding on to this story for a couple years now, and I figure it's time to finally spill it to someone. You know, I'm not the type who goes around sharing every little weird thing that happens. I'm more the quiet sort, keeping to myself, analyzing stuff in my head like it's some experiment gone wrong. But this one, it still nags at me like a loose thread I can't quite snip off. Anyway, I'm Liam, by the way, Liam Keller, full name, which'll make sense in a bit. I plan events for a living, corporate gigs mostly, nothing glamorous, just making sure the catering shows up and the AV doesn't crap out. 2 years back, I had this job lining up a wellness fair for some tech firm, yoga sessions, health screenings, that kind of thing. Needed to grab some basic medical supplies like bandages and sanitizer from this little clinic in my suburban town. It's one of those quiet places, tucked away on a side street, not a big hospital or anything, just a walk-in spot for checkups and flu shots. I remember pulling up on a weekday afternoon, overcast sky making everything feel a tad gloomier than usual, like the light was dialed down a notch. Parked my car, grabbed my list, and headed in. The waiting area was dead empty, no patients flipping through magazines, no receptionist even, though I could hear someone typing away in the back office. Just me, standing there by the counter, feeling that slight isolation you get in places like this, you know? Like the air's too still, too clinical, with that faint antiseptic smell hanging around. I leaned on the counter, waiting for someone to notice me, and my mind wandered a bit. Tangent here, but growing up around here, I'd heard these old stories from my grandma about guardian spirits in healing spots, like entities that watch over clinics or old apothecaries, protecting folks or something. Sounded like total folklore nonsense to me, the kind of tale people spin to make boring towns feel mystical. I'm a facts guy, right? If it doesn't add up scientifically, it's probably just coincidence or bad wiring. But yeah, standing there alone, that thought popped in uninvited, made me chuckle to myself, like what if? Nah, shake it off, Liam. You're here for supplies, not ghost hunting. The place had this antique vibe too, with an old wooden cabinet in the corner, probably from the 50s or whenever, stocked with pamphlets and random junk. I glanced at it while waiting, nothing special, just dusty shelves. Finally, I rang the little bell on the counter, figuring I'd speed things along. That's when it got weird, and I mean, straight up unsettling in a way I still try to rationalize. I'm introverted, okay? I don't like drawing attention, so I'm just standing there quietly, not yelling or anything, when out of nowhere, I hear this soft whisper. Clear as day, it says, Liam Keller. My full name, like someone leaning in close, breathy and low, coming from behind that antique cabinet in the corner. I froze, heart doing that little skip thing, you know? At first I thought, okay, maybe the receptionist is playing a prank, or it's an echo from the back room, but the waiting area was empty, totally, certifiably empty. No one else around, no footsteps, nothing. I turned toward the cabinet, squinting, trying to play it cool like the analytical type I am. Hello? I muttered, feeling stupid for talking to thin air. No answer, of course. But then, right as I'm staring at the base of the cabinet, there's this twinkle, a quick flash of light from an electrical socket down there. Thing is, it was unplugged, no cord in it, just this bare outlet on the wall, and it sparked like something short-circuited, a little blue-white glimmer that lit up the dust motes for a split second. Made me jump back a step, because electricity doesn't just do that on its own, right? Scientifically speaking, maybe static or a power surge, but in an empty room, doubtful. And before I can even process that, this sudden whoosh of air hits, like a mini eddy or gust from nowhere. No windows open, no fans running. It knocks over a bottle of hand sanitizer on the side table nearby, just topples it right off with a clatter onto the floor. The cap pops off, and this sharp alcohol smell fills the air, mixing with that antiseptic vibe. My skin prickles, like every hair on my arms is standing up, and I'm thinking, okay, this is not normal. Wind inside a building? Come on, Liam, explain it. Maybe a draft from the vents, or I imagined the whisper and the rest is coincidence. But deep down, it felt targeted, like something was messing with me specifically. I edged closer to the cabinet, heart pounding now, because that whisper had my name on it, and names aren't random. Peered behind it, nothing, just shadows and that socket looking innocent as ever. But then I noticed the cabinet door was slightly ajar, which I swear it wasn't when I first glanced over. Pulled it open, figuring I'd prove to myself it's all in my head, and there, tucked on the bottom shelf, is this old vintage postage stamp. Faded ink, some kind of floral design from way back, like it belonged in a collector's album, not a clinic cabinet. I know it wasn't there before. I'd looked at those shelves while waiting, all pamphlets and empty space. Picked it up, and it felt oddly warm, like it had been handled recently, but by who? The whisper had faded by then, just poof, gone, leaving me standing there with this stamp in my hand, bottle on the floor, and that twinkle still fresh in my mind. Chilled me to the bone, honestly. I'm not one for drama, but it was like the room had eyes on me. Tangent, but you ever get that feeling where you're alone, but not really? Yeah, that was it, amplified. I shoved the stamp in my pocket, straightened the bottle, and when the receptionist finally came out, I played it off like nothing happened, got my supplies, and bolted. Didn't want to sound crazy, you know? I'm the type who manipulates situations to stay in control, so I just smiled and nodded, kept my doubts internal. Later that evening, back in my home office, it's this cozy little setup in the spare room, desk piled with event planners and laptops. I couldn't shake it. Sat there with a cup of coffee, staring at that stamp under the lamp, turning it over like it's evidence in some lab test. I'm introverted, sure, but I like piecing things together, rationalizing the chaos. First, I tried debunking the whole thing. Whisper could be auditory hallucination from stress, right? Event planning's hectic, deadlines everywhere. The twinkle, faulty wiring, even if unplugged, maybe residual charge or something scientific I could look up. Eddy of air, draft from the AC kicking on, knocking the bottle by chance. And the stamp. Must have overlooked it earlier, or someone placed it there while I wasn't looking. But here's where it gets tricky, and why I'm telling you this now. After digging around online, I linked it back to those local folklore tales I'd brushed off. Turns out there's this old legend in our town about guardian entities in places of healing, like clinics or old doctors' offices. They're supposed to be protective spirits, remnants of folks who died there or something, whispering to people they deem in need, calling names to get attention, manifesting through little lights, gusts of air, and leaving tokens like stamps or coins as signs. Stamps specifically because back in the day, they symbolized messages from afar, like warnings or protections. The one I found, vintage, faded ink, matches descriptions in some obscure local history forum. No way I imagined that connection. It's too spot on. And get this, a minor coincidence that still bugs me. A week after, I went for a routine checkup, and the doc caught this small thyroid thing. Nothing major, but it could have gone unnoticed. Was the whisper a heads up? Protective, like the stories say? or just luck. I lean scientific, so I tell myself it's coincidence, but doubt lingers. Another little thing, my grandma used to collect stamps, and she passed a couple years before this, always yapping about those guardian tales. Could be her. Nah, that's stretching it, but it makes me wonder. I've kept the stamp in a drawer, haven't had any repeats, no more whispers, no twinkles. But reflecting on it, especially now sharing with you, it shifts from dread to this weird awe. Like maybe something's watching out in a benign way, or maybe I'm manipulating my own narrative to feel better about the unexplained. Either way, it's stuck with me, makes me pause in empty rooms, listening a bit closer. What do you think? Coincidence or something more?